Here's the secret. It's plain and simple. It's your nutrition. Though there's a lot of problems with your nutrition. And what nutrition plan do you follow, right? Do you do paleo? Do you do no carbs? Do you do high carbs? Do you do low fat? You do high fat? Do you do Atkins? Do you do Jenny Craig? What is it? Anybody can follow those plans and they do work. The problem is they're short-term fixes. They'll work for a period of time and you'll get results, and most likely you've either already experienced this or you will experience on this plan that you're going to gain all that weight back and maybe even more. So the problem is you got to make sure you have a plan of nutrition. Nutrition is a very complex subject, as whereas it's a very simple subject. The simple part of this subject is nutrition is simply nourishment for your body. So our goal is to get as much nourishment in our bodies as possible, because the way the body works is it recognizes nourishment and then utilizes it for fuel and for the body, the muscles, the brains, all the tissues, and then eliminates what it doesn't need. So here's where everybody gets confused. They jump on a bandwagon and jump on a plan, and then they go through with it and they lose 15, 20, 30 pounds, and they may start feeling great. Well, the problem is it's a short-term approach, and it's an extreme approach. It's not a real life approach, because anybody can follow a plan for 6 weeks or 12 weeks, and they can do it pretty rigorous and stick to it and not make any changes. But the problem is if you do a Jenny Craig, for example, or you do majority of the diets out there, is what they do is they focus on your caloric expenditure or your intake. And they want to lower your intake as low as possible, so then obviously you burn more than you consume and you drop weight. So isn't that the law of thermodynamics? Isn't that valuable? Yes, it's valuable, but it's not the most important thing. So the problem is once you drop your metabolism, well, eventually you're going to be forced to eat. You can't stay on these, Jenny Craig meal plans or lean cuisines or this certain meal plan for the rest of your life. You're gonna cheat. We're all gonna fall off the wagon. Hopefully we'll fall off for a short period of time and get back on it. But it's not a real plan, because let's face it, when your metabolism drops really low and you go have a cheesecake, well, now your metabolism is super low and you have a 1,500 calorie cheesecake. Well, that cheesecake was like your entire calories for the day or more, and then your body's going to start gaining weight. It also, since you've been starving yourself with such a low caloric intake and your metabolism's been so low, your body's like, yes, we need to store this fat for a time that we may need it, because we consistently starve ourselves, so we're going to even put on more weight and put on more fat. And you guys have all done this, or you've seen this in somebody you know. They're called yo-yo diets, right? They go on an extreme kick, they cut their calories, and it could be a juice fast, it could be almost anything. A raw diet, it works temporarily because it lowers their caloric intake, metabolism starts kicking muscle tissue, fat tissue, and water loss, and then weight drops very fast. The problem is they get stuck, they hit a plateau, they start to bottom out. And once you bottom out, right, there's nowhere to go. You can't not eat. So then you're going to fall off that plan. Most people, what they do is they blame themselves for falling off the plan. I didn't have enough willpower. It was, I just couldn't do it. I had to cheat and so forth. Well, no, physiologically speaking, they set you up for failure. So that plan set you up for failure, because once your metabolism gets so low and you're forced to eat normal foods, well, now they just prepared your body to store more fat than ever. So if you're thinking about doing some extreme diet, you've got to get off that wagon. Don't do it. I don't care what anybody said and how it works. It always may work, in the short term, but is it a long-term solution? And that's what we talk about here. We want a long-term plan of action that consistently gets you to raise your metabolism, gets you to shed fat super fast, and keep you lean and tight and toned and, skinny and firm and muscular for the rest of your life, for as long as you want. And we created a plan where, I don't care if you eat a cheesecake. I don't care if you eat something horrible. Or, if it's in moderation, you do it every once in a while, no big deal, because when your metabolism's up here and you're burning 2 to 5,000 calories a day and you're working out hard and you're pushing yourself and you're feeling tons of energy, well, that body's just going to burn that fat up, burn that bad meal up like nothing. Granted, you can't do that every day, right? I did mention moderation. And moderation is kind of a misused term. People are like, oh, I drink moderately. I only have a glass of wine at night. Well, drinking 1 glass of wine a night is not moderation. That's every day. Moderation is eating dessert once a week or twice a month or once a month, right? So depending how you base that, you want to make sure you understand what moderation really is. Don't just be like, oh, I do it moderately. Not because you don't do it for every meal. It's you do it once in a blue moon. Once in a blue moon is the scheme of your life. But if you drink or have a dessert or have something every night, that's no longer moderation. So there's a few rules with nutrition, a few things that you have to master, because if you don't master these 2 things, you're going to have a really hard time losing weight. You're going to have time keeping up. You're going to have a hard time with your energy and so forth. And we want you to shed weight all the time, and we want you to enjoy food and, burn tons of calories. So here's the breakdown. The 2 things that you need to do is you got to eat breakfast. You got to eat first thing when you wake up. Start off with a protein shake. Start off with something simple, some coconut oil, something that you can slam down your throat to start getting in the habit. And the second thing is eating multiple meals throughout the day. So 2 to 3 hours, eat every 2 to 3 hours. Are those big meals? Are those small meals? Well, it depends on how much muscle mass you have, how big of an individual you have, what your metabolism. For myself, who lifts weights and has a decent amount of muscle mass, I eat big meals all day long. So every 2 to 3 hours, I'm eating big meals. For somebody starting off and whose metabolism is pretty low, we'll start off slow and then work on building up more calories per meal, more larger meals each week, each month, and so forth, so we increase the metabolism slowly without really putting on too much fat. What that also does, because when you starve yourself, what that does is suppresses your hormones, lowers your energy. It wrecks the body. When you start eating good healthy foods, good foods that are nourishing, then you're going to increase your hormones. Body's going to start repairing itself because it has the nourishment to do so. So eating good, solid meals throughout the day, eating highly nourishing food. So what is highly nourishing foods? Foods that have tons of nourishment. Vegetables are number 1, right? When you have vegetables, you're getting tons of nourishment with hardly any calories. Protein. Is it a good source of protein? Does it come from quality animals? Or does it come from, animals that aren't treated well? So we are what we eat as well as we are what we don't excrete. So we want to make sure you find, either grass-fed or wild or free range or, all these things you might hear. So check the source where you're getting your food from. Just like vegetables. Are they good or are they bad? Well, if they're rotten vegetables, they're definitely bad. You don't ever want to eat rotten vegetables. If they're fresh, local vegetables, if you grow them in your own garden, even better, right? So everything's based off of quality. The higher the quality, the better it is for you. So nourishment, remember those few fundamental rules. Eat every 2 to 3 hours. Eat first thing when you wake up, and make sure you have high quality food. So if you really want a serious plan and know exactly what to do step by step, what we're going to do is we're going to offer the plan we give to all our clients who traditionally on average drop anywhere from 15 to 17 pounds in a 6-week period, all by eating more food than they ever could imagine. I know my biggest argument with people is getting them to used to eating more food and more food and more food and more food, and while they do that, they lose more weight, and more weight. So here's the deal. We have this plan we're offering to you at a ridiculous rate. So $7.99, you just click the button below. You can get our full plan. We'll go through every little detail with you, because this plan of action goes through what you should eat, when you should eat it, the days you eat it. It's the same protocol I use to teach my trainers how to teach people how to eat correctly. It's a very simple plan. So this simple plan that we're giving you, or that you can get below and purchase, it will lay out the details to get you started, on the two biggest things that you need to do. And those two biggest things, the reason why they're difficult is it's changing your behaviors. And if you're truly serious about getting massive results when it comes to weight loss and fitness and so forth, you've got to change your behaviors. If you don't eat multiple meals a day, you're not going to succeed. You're not going to ever have that body you want. If you don't eat first thing when you wake up, again, same thing. You're not going to get where you want to go. As well as once you follow this plan, you start to realize, the foods that you can eat, the foods when you should eat them, at the times that you should eat them, based off of your life and what you're doing for the next few hours, as well as, what foods to get your body started to really drop weight. Like I said, on average, people lose 15 to 70 pounds in 6 weeks just by following our plan of exercise, as well as this nutritional plan. And this nutrition plan is really the secret. Nutrition is the key for you to drop weight and drop weight fast. So I'm excited about it. Hopefully you get the plan below. If not, hopefully this video you learned a lot, and you now know you must eat every 2 to 3 hours, and you must start eating more food, good food, and eat breakfast, right? First thing upon waking. Thank you, and have a great day.